Hey, everybody, we're back again. This is your girl, Curly Girl Real Talk, and we are still continuing our conversation on PeriWHATapause. Like what you say, this stuff ain't no joke, and it's the truth. It is not. But never fear, because it takes people like me that has gone through HE double hell. Well, you heard me say it, hell, because I had to go through it and I had to do a lot of trial and error, and I know how bad and horrible it was for me at first. And so I just want to get out and tell you guys all about it. So that's what I'm doing. And we're on week 3. Can you believe we on week 3? I mean, dang on. I feel like I've just been doing this every day, but I really haven't. Because y'all would probably get tired of me. No, you wouldn't. Because y'all love me like that. And that's what's up. Because I love you too. But anyway, so if you've been following along, please share, and share, because there is women, believe it or not, women will start to go through, or could, not will, but could actually start to go through perimenopause in their 30s. Oh, Jesus. And then when 40s hit, it is like all Hades breaks loose. And that's no joke. But so, yeah, if you know, even somebody who's younger and they're in their 30s, please share this with them, because they need to know they're not alone, and they need to be empowered to know their body, because that's what this is all about. That's why I wanted to start with PeriWHATapause, because it knocked me for a whole complete loop. Like, this was not something I was expecting. It came out of the clear blue. Like, how did you get here? I don't even... Can you go get hit by a truck or something? But no, she wanted to stay and play. You see how people do? Anyway, so we are continuing on the topic of PeriWHATapause, because honestly, there is not enough talk about it. Actually, there's a little bit more discussions that are being had about it, but I wanted to get out there because I really wanted you guys to know that this stuff ain't no joke, but you will get through it. And that's why I'm trying to give you all the things that I researched and found along the way that helped me, and I want to help you. So let's go. Week 3. Come on. We're almost done with PeriWHATapause, though. So next time I come on, Lord only knows what he'll have me talking about. Because I'm just saying, I got lots to talk about. Okay. So let's continue. So let's do a little bit of a rewind from last week. I was talking about, we kind of got into whole foods and things that you can eat. And then last week I talked about all of the over-the-counter things, you know, and we really wanted, the mindset here is, okay, now that you feel like perhaps you could be or couldn't be in perimenopause, the first thing you should always do is seek your practitioner, because that's the first place you should start. But I cannot stress this enough, and I will probably stress this from here on out. Journal, everything. Journal all your symptoms. Journal everything, the severity, the frequency of your symptoms. That way, if you feel like, yeah, I can't take these things no more, I'm going to have to go call and get into my practitioner, whether that be an OBGYN, whether that be a endocrinologist who deals with hormones, or whether you just go to your family doctor and say, look, something ain't right. Let's figure this out. Whatever it is, if you have a journal of your signs and symptoms and severity and all that kind of stuff ready in hand to let him or her see it, that is going to be that's your arsenal right there. Like, listen, I've been doing my due diligence, and I've been, documenting what's going on with me. So you about to hear me roar, because I'm not leaving this office until something gets done. And like I said from the very beginning, don't you ever hesitate. If you don't feel like somebody's taking your signs and symptoms or your issues, specifically in perimenopause, if you don't feel like somebody's taking you seriously, don't hesitate to go to 2 or 3, maybe even 4. I don't care what the world says about you. The world always says you're crazy. So what? And they always think women are crazy because our hormones are all crazy. But guess what? We ain't crazy. This is the way God made us. Dang. How you going to take that out on us? But regardless, let's keep moving. Let's keep talking about it. So I left off last week talking about the supplements, the over-the-counter things that you can take. And I said, I did want to add this in here because I failed to talk about that last week. So there are plenty of supplementations that you can take. And I talked about those: black cohosh, chastaberry, macaroot, all these vitamins and things that you can take, right? Those are supplements and those are good things. I mean, and it's all trial and error. But what I failed to tell you is like the things that there is oh my gosh, you guys, there are so many products out there that you can take over the counter for menopause or perimenopause. I mean, literally, if you Googled right now on your phone, perimenopause, I bet you every drug that they are not drug, but everything that they make pertaining to over the counter menopause will be listed. And I'm saying there is so many. Estrogen, I told you guys about my, story with when I started out. I took estrogen and it helped for a little bit, but I didn't really have hot flashes like that at first. So they came later, obviously, but I didn't have them like that at first. But so there's estrogen, there's Amberin, there's menopause, there's menopause or whatever it's called. There's Provitalize. There is so many products out there that you can, and a lot of those products they have a lot of the supplementations in them. So it really, you'll have to read the labels. And remember what I said last week on the supplementations. I told you the supplementations and what they were, what symptoms they were good for. So what that means is if you go the route of, hey, estrogen has soy in it, and soy is supposed to be good for your hormones, for your estrogen. And it has black cohosh, which helps with hot flashes. And if those are your main symptoms, that thing will cover that, right? Estrogen will be right up your alley. But you'll have to find one of them that is good for you. That's the way it is. You will have to find a supplementation, and it's really not a supplementation. It's just over-the-counter treatment for the perimenopause or menopause. And again, you'll just have to look at the label, see what's in it. Even if you buy it online, a lot of times they'll tell you what the label is and what's in it. And so go to my last week's, because I was telling you everything. What's in what's black cohosh good for? What's Dong Quai good for? What's macaroot? What's holy basil? All those supplementations, a lot of those products for menopause have a lot of those supplementations in it. So I didn't say that last week because I just wasn't thinking. I don't know, because sometimes your girl gets a little absent-minded, but that's okay because it's all gravy because God is good and my mind is in the right place. Amen. Anyway. But so yeah, I mean, a lot of those over the counters, and again, I really didn't talk a lot about them because I only took estrogen, and that was only for a little bit. But again, do your research. There's so many out there, so many out there, seriously. And I'm just gonna put this out there right now. I was going to wait till the end, but there is a new site called Versali.com, Versali, Versali.com. And it's a great resource for women who are just starting out, maybe going through this phase in their life and they want to do some research. This is a great little site. Go ahead and check it out. It has it has over-the-counter supplements. It has, you can even get on there and talk to like a registered menopause therapist or whatever they call themselves, but they're, people who can help you, hormone specialists or whatever they call them. There are people on there that I don't know if it's free, probably isn't free. You'll probably have to sign up, maybe take some insurance or what. I don't know. I didn't go that route, but it does have a lot of good information about menopause and perimenopause, diets, exercise, all kinds of things on there. So check it out, Versali, Versali.com, and you'll be able to get on there and get all kinds of resources. I mean, it's a nice site. I did check it out. It was kind of in the latter stages of me getting all this stuff together before my podcast. But it was great. It would have been great for me when I was first going through this. But it came out later. So, and that's okay. And I'm sure there's a bunch of different sites. I didn't really search a lot of them because I did my own due diligence and just was like, okay, what is this? What is it called? Now that they tell me I'm in perimenopause, what does that actually mean? And so And again, this is all trial and error. This is not something that's going to be like one and done. Nope. Unfortunately, they said, what I tell you guys from like the first or second week, ladies, if you are considered, or they told you you're in perimenopause, you got 4 to 10 years, baby. And I'm not claiming no further than that. Amen. Because it's holy heck when you're in it right now. I'm just saying. But if you get on the right things, if you do your trial and error to figure out what works for you, once you find something that works for you, trust me, you will be fine. You will be just fine, and you will get through this, and it's all going to be good. Okay. So continuing on with the, what can you take if you find out you're in this part of your life, phase of your life. So I talked about the supplementation. Well, now I want to talk about things that you have to go, like, you not over the counter. These are things, or actually these are the things you got to get prescription for. So we talked about the supplementation. I know I keep saying that, but I want to keep reminding you of that. And the things that like estrogen and Amberin and all these other products that have probably a lot of these supplements in them. You'll just have to read the labels and see what's in it. And then go back to my second week that was last week, where I told you each one of the supplements and what it was good for. So that can help you with your ammo if you're trying to get only one product. Like, I don't want to take a lot of supplements. So what product is going to be a good one for me, where I just take one or maybe 1 or 2 pills a day instead of all these supplements? Totally get you. Totally understand that. But all right. So over the counter things. So if you go and you've done your trial and error on the supplements or over the counter stuff, and it really just you didn't find much relief with it, then you'll obviously have to go back to whatever practitioner you've started with in this journey. And you're going to tell them again, keeping that journal, making sure because even if you take something, even if you start taking any of these supplements, you should still be documenting in your journal what is going on now that you started taking it. So for instance, your signs and symptoms of this prior to, before you started taking anything. Once you take something, anything that you take by mouth orally, it's going to at least take anywhere from 2 to 3 months for it to really get in your system, because it has to go through your filtration system, which is your liver. And, that's just the way it is. So you got to give your body enough time to get used to whatever it is. So give yourself at least, if you're taking something over the counter, give yourself at least 2 to 3 months to see if it's going to work out. So in that midst of that time, write and document down anything you're seeing, any improvements. Are you seeing an improvement in your hot flashes? Are you seeing an improvement in your night sweats or whatever? Are you seeing an improvement in your brain fog or whatever you got going on, or your inability to sleep or whatever it is? Body pains, because I'm telling you, those were rough for me at first. So whatever it is, and whatever regimen you start out with, keep continuing to journal, because you just don't know what's going to come up after you start taking something. Maybe it's like a no-go for you. Maybe, you start taking it and something weird starts happening. You're like, yeah, it wasn't like that before. So it's, if you go down and, do your process of elimination, you're going to come to that. Like, that was the issue because it didn't start until I started taking this. So take that out of the equation and then go to something else. I'm not saying chase things. I'm not saying that, because I know I did that. I was like, oh no, estrogen worked for a little bit. And then again, I had to get something else correlated into the regimen, which was something for the anxiousness that was prescribed, obviously. But I tried everything at first, and it just all, I was like, oh yeah, this ain't really working too well. So then I came back. And when I came back, my family doctor was like, well, what's still going on with you? And I'm like, listen, this is this now and this and this. And I, really, I didn't do a whole lot of journaling myself. I did ended up toward the end when I, right when I was really kind of going to the bioidentical way, I got wise and then started journaling. But before that, when I was dealing with my family doctor, I really didn't. I was just expressing everything that was going on because it just felt so horrible. But you really need to journal those signs and symptoms, because I'm telling you, it's going to be your best friend when you have to go to any practitioner and let them know for treatment, right? But if you have to go and none of that other stuff worked for you, you may go back. I went back to my family doctor and he was like, well, I could put you on a low dose birth control pill. And I'm like, pump the brakes on that. What you talking about, bruh? Because I'm, past that age. And he's like, well, sometimes low dose birth control pills can really help when it comes to hormonal related stuff. And I'm like, I was very against synthetic. Now listen, I'm not out here to pitch anything. I'm just here to give you your options. I just know that there was risks, and there's risks for anything. I totally understand that. Believe me when I say that, I get it. But I just didn't want to go the route of synthetic hormones because I was on them when I was younger for, being on the pill and all that kind of stuff when you're young. But I stopped that when I was in my late 20s. After I had my daughter, I wasn't on anything after that. And I just, I felt okay. So I didn't really want to go that route. I was very adamant. I don't want anything because I just didn't want the risks. So, but there is that option. And believe me, it's low dose. So you're not getting as much as the hormone that you would be for like the regular full dose, pill, or what I mean? Birth control pill. So anyway, there are so many brands out there. I really only want to give you like a couple. But there's so many brands of low dose birth control pills. There's one called Estrin, Estrin. And then I'm going to jack this up, but it's Alessi or whatever, Alesse. Those are two brands that I found when I was researching and when, that was kind of brought to my attention as far as, well, you could do this. And I'm like, there's so many more though. Let me trust me when I say there's so many brands out there for low dose birth control. So I didn't want to do that. So but I wanted to bring that to you. And I also, the risk factors for me were significant because, and I get it. Like I said, anything comes with risks, anything, it doesn't matter. I just didn't feel like taking that risk. So what are some of the risks? Well, for the synthetic and any birth control really do have these same type of risks, but it's, you have a greater risk of blood clots, potentially breast cancer, specifically the older we get, cardiovascular disease, stroke, believe it or not, stroke and stuff like that for, those risks for taking those synthetic hormones. So I just felt that it was a little bit too risky for me, considering I had a family history of breast cancer. My mother's mom, my maternal grandmother had it. And I just didn't want to go that route. And then, on my mom's side, there's a history of stroke. And I just was like, no, I just don't want to do it. So there is that factor, though. There is that option that you could try that at first. And again, like anything, it is trial and error. It may not work, or you're going to have to, obviously, for the pill, you're going to have to at least give that at least 30 to 90 days to see the effectiveness of it. So there is that option. So I wanted to throw that out there because, for some people, you're okay with that. And believe me, it really is a preference on what you do to treat this. How you get through this is number one, trial and error, and preference. It is preference. Trust me. All right. Now the next one is hormone therapy. And that was really kind of like what you say, like hormone therapy. Like I never thought in a million years I would be sitting at the doctor and he would be discussing hormone therapy with me. But my OBGYN, I eventually went back and he ended up prescribing me a low dose. There is low dose hormone therapy, believe it or not. There are so many different ones out there. And I cannot tell you for the life of me the name of it, nor something. It was NOR something. But your practitioner is the one that's going to prescribe it, and he's going to know what to give you based off of, again, your signs and symptoms, your journals you're keeping, everything that you're doing to inform him so he can make a better decision to help treat you. So again, hormone replacement therapy is also synthetic. And they come in different forms. There's oral tablets, probably the same. If I could guess, I never did take it, but they did prescribe it. But I would say it's probably the same form as the birth control pill. Don't quote me on that, but it probably looks very similar, I would think. But I don't know that because, again, I did not take it. I was just prescribed it. I never went and picked it up. There's also patches. The thing about patches, though, I want to put the caveat out here, is that patches like estrogen patches and things like that, for that, They usually don't give you those unless if you still have a uterus. So a lot of women who have had a hysterectomy of some sort, they can probably do the estrogen patch. But if you're a woman that has all your parts and you've never had anything removed, you probably won't qualify. But don't quote me on that either. That's still a discussion you're going to have with your practitioner, whoever you go to, because they might have changed that. I didn't see that when I was doing my research initially. It was still for women who had hysterectomies and they are without a uterus. That's pretty much the research that I got from that, because I thought, oh, I'll do a patch. Well, they, the one told me, you still have a uterus, or do you still have your parts? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, well, then no, you don't qualify for the patch. And I'm like, well, that's just stupid. Okay. But anyway, no worries. But so then they have gels. They have actual gels that you can do. Emulsion sprays. I really would have to look that up, but I'm assuming it's just like what it says. You spray it on you, perhaps. I don't know. And then creams. There's vaginal creams, and then there's skin creams, creams that you can put on your skin. So there's different types of the therapy. There's different types. They come in different forms. Let's just say it like that. So, and again, those are all synthetic. What I just said was all synthetic form. But, it's an option. It really is an option. I've heard a lot of women have great success on those. So it is an option, but it's just a preference, just like anything else. I didn't want to do it because of the risks, because of them being synthetic and the older I was getting, but that doesn't mean anything. That might still work. That might work for you and it might be great and you may feel great. Whatever it is, whatever it takes to get you through this process, that's what you need to do. And like I said, I'm a believer in Christ. So I had to really meditate and be like, okay, God, what do I need to do? What is best for me? And that's the route I went. And that's, again, that's me. I'm a lover of God and I want to do what God's going to do, what he knows is best for me, because he knows me better than I know myself. So, amen. But moving on. Now I want to talk about bioidentical hormone. So what is the difference between regular hormone therapy and bioidentical? Well, it's simply the hormone therapy that you have to get from a practitioner is synthetic, and the bioidentical hormones are made from a compounding pharmacy. And those, I do have to get that's the word, prescription. I have to get a script for that. And the place that I go, which I will talk about shortly, that's the place I go, and she works with my family provider. So it really was a win-win, because if she wanted to put me on something and my family, practitioner was like, why, I don't know the need for that, then he would say, no, we're not doing that. And he's already done that. Like, she wanted to put me on something and he was like, nope, I don't feel the need for that. We're not going to do it. And I didn't go any further with it because I kind of agreed with them. And I thought, well, it's, so, I mean, it's a good match between your family provider because, for one, I'm not going to say all, but for the majority, a lot of the compounding pharmacies are registered pharmacists. Like where I go, she's a registered pharmacist. So she does the compounding pharmacy for the hormones, but she also has home health and regular prescriptions in her pharmacy. So that's why she has to work with my family provider, because she can't write scripts. She can only fill them. So but it's a cool thing to me. I'm sure my family doctor doesn't think it's too cool, because, it seems like every time we turn around, we're sending it. But you have to adjust them. It's a give and take on those, and you have to adjust them until you find what works for you. So the bioidenticals, though, what the true definition of bioidenticals is they're artificial hormones that are designed to mimic the hormones that women's bodies make. They are plant-based and are custom made by a compound in pharmacy. They come in different forms, and we'll talk about those. Pellets, which I go back to session 1, my very first podcast, where I talked about my testimony with pellets. Not a pretty situation, but I've heard women holler, and I'm not even joking when I say they have hollered about pellets. Most women that I've talked to, they love them. There's some women out there that absolutely love them. They swear by them. Gravy, I'm not mad at you. They did not work for me. So, and again, pellets are all in one. Either they work for you or they do not. I mean, it's just kind of, and the thing about pellets is they take a lot longer to customize. And by that, I mean, you have to have them in your body for 3 months. So basically, they are the size a little bit bigger than a grain of rice. And again, like I told you guys, my very first podcast, they kind of nip an area of your skin and your fat pad of like between your hip and your butt area. And they insert these little, pellets in your body, and they biodegrade, pretty much degrade in your body. And supposedly they put out the right amount of hormones that you need for the 3 months. So you keep them in for 3 months. They don't fall out. They pretty much your skin nick starts to heal as soon as you leave. I mean, it's just the way our skin's designed. And the only way they're really going to fall out is if you're like doing crazy stuff that, you shouldn't be doing anyway. So yeah, you leave them in for 3 months and then you come back and you get another set, and it's pretty much the same thing over and over, and you keep them on for 3 months and you go back. But the adjustment of them is a lot harder to do. So when I did it the very first time, they go really by your symptoms. They don't, where I went before, she was like, I base all of what I'm going to give you and the dosage and everything else based off your symptoms. So I initially did, blood work for her to see where I was at, but it, she based everything in my dosages on my symptoms. So here was the problem with that. I had really bad anxiety at first, but I think it was a lot of things were factored in that, right? We were just coming out of COVID and everything was just still crazy for me and crazy in the world, as it still is, but it is what it is. But I mean, so she felt that the anxiousness that I was feeling was because I had low testosterone. But go back to my first one, because it was not low testosterone. As a matter of fact, I do believe that a woman at our age, our testosterone level should be anywhere between 10-ish to 55. Between, 10's like the lower end, 55 is exactly where, that's the higher end. I got so jacked up on them that at one time she had me up to, I'm like, before I stopped doing them, my testosterone level was at 254. That's triple what it should have been. So I know I poke fun of it when I say she was literally trying to turn me into a whole man, but literally had I kept going, I don't even know. I mean, cause it was bad. It was really bad. And if you have too much testosterone in your system, you can have increased anxiety. You can have all kinds of things go on, especially in a woman's body. So I was like, whoa, yeah, that was the best move I ever made, is to stop doing those. And again, I'm not bashing them because they did work great for me. As soon as I got them in on, I think it's September, I went. October, I felt amazing. But as soon as the testosterone, because she had me on too much testosterone. Had she backed off the testosterone and, increased my estrogen, and probably eventually had to incorporate progesterone because I was absolutely below where I needed to be for that, then I probably would have been okay. But because she didn't want to listen to me. She didn't. She kept her statement to me was, I'm the doctor. I know. Okay, well, nope, you don't know my body like I do, and there's something not quite right. So anyway, again, some women swear by pellets. I ain't mad at you. I tried them. They did not work for me, so I had to move on to something, different. So moving on from that, besides the pellets, there's oral capsules. So when I first started doing progesterone, I did do capsules at first. And, my pharmacist, she prescribed 2 capsules in the evening. And the reason why is because they make you sleepy. And I'm telling you, when I was on those progesterone capsules, I got the very best sleep I ever had, probably in years. That stuff was freaking amazing. But eventually I got tired of taking capsules because I was already taking a lot of, vitamins and stuff. And I thought, oh, Lord. So I eventually came back to my pharmacist and said, listen, the estrogen cream's going good. Can I just do the progesterone in a cream? And she absolutely was okay with that. And I've been doing creams ever since. So moving on from capsules, right? And I don't think that they do, don't quote me on that, but I don't think they do estrogen or testosterone in capsules. I think it was really, but don't quote me. So moving on from capsules is, like I said, creams, and that's what I do. I absolutely love them. They're very convenient. You just get up for the day, take your shower, do what you're going to do. And I just put the creams on the inner part of my upper arms, between my elbow and my shoulder, and anywhere in between that area. And it's the inner part of that area, basically. And as soon as, it dries very quickly, and it doesn't have a bad odor or anything. I mean, it's, you can't really tell that you have it on at all. So you just know that you feel better. It very much works for me because I needed something adjustable, and these creams are very adjustable. And the other cool thing about it is, like the progesterone capsules I was talking about, they have to go through your small intestine and your liver. They got to go through your filtration system in your body. So I often wonder, when they do any pill that you take, how much do you actually get after it goes out through the filtration system? I mean, I don't know. It was just something inquiring minds were wanting to know. But so the capsules, I mean, they did make me feel good, and I was able to get like I said, the greatest sleep of my life. But when you do creams, they go instantly in your bloodstream. So it bypasses your liver, and your liver will thank you for it, because it doesn't have to be so bogged down with a bunch of medicines and all that kind of stuff. So that's the cool thing about it. The creams go instantly in your bloodstream. And I mean, I noticed it right away, you guys. I mean, I'm not kidding. I noticed it right away, because by the time I stopped doing the pellets to the time that I got the cream, it was a month. I was a month out and hadn't had anything. Now, the pellets were still kind of lingering in my body, because those take about a good 90 days for them, between 30 and 90 days for them to really kind of get out of your system. The ones that linger the longest is the testosterone. But regardless, so I was still okay. But the whole process of, dosing and all that kind of stuff, but it's been a journey. And honestly, I'm so very grateful and thankful for the woman that I go to. She's amazing. Her name's Q. Shout out to Q. She's awesome. And I'm just so grateful that God led me to her. And she's been phenomenal. Very caring, very compassionate, and she knows about menopause. Trust me when I say she's very knowledgeable. She answers any questions that you have. Her questionnaire alone, for when I was going to her, impressed the holy crap out of me, because you fill out this huge packet, no lie, but I'm telling you, it had every symptom under the sun. And I felt like I was like literally doodling the whole page, because I just felt like that's how much stuff I had going, but I had to be honest, because I knew she's got to know what's going on with me. And she already knew I was coming out of pellets, and she knows she had to work with something crazy anyway, but she made it work, and praise the Lord for it, because I wouldn't have been able to get through this without finding her. So praise be unto God for that. But so moving on, there is patches for, again, for bioidentical, but I don't know for sure. That's the only thing I don't know, if that same thing applies like it does in the synthetic patches as it does with the bioidentical. Like if you can only do them if you have, if you're missing your uterus kind of, if you're missing your uterus. If you still have it, I don't know if you can still do that on the bioidentical side, but that's just something, if you want to go the route for bioidentical, you would have to, discuss that with that person, whoever it is. There could be, I've seen nurse practitioners do bioidentical hormones. I've seen physicians. The very first time I did my pellets, she was a physician. So, it depends, if you have I know there's a place in Dayton called Happy Hormone Cottage or something like that. They're a compounding pharmacy as well. And most of them are, but they did have nurse practitioners in there that would, see you and stuff like that. So, I guess it just depends on the place and who you go to. But, again, they worked for me, you guys. I can't say enough about them. Now, if you do any research on the difference between bioidentical hormones and synthetic, you will find every possible thing under the sun. Some will tell you that bioidentical is better for you. Some will tell you that they're not. There's no difference between the two, that the risks are just the same with bioidentical as there is for synthetic. However, if something is plant-based, I really have a hard time feeling like the risks are still there. But according to them, whoever did the research for them on the difference between the two, there's still just as much as a risk. I don't know. I don't feel like there is, but that's just me. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a practitioner. I'm just saying it works for me. That's what I'm going to continue to do until, whatever. I'm going to continue to do it until I'm done with menopause, and I'm not going to do it no more. So anyway, so I mean, there is a lot of things, you guys. There really is a lot of things. And I hope that you are finding this information helpful. But even if I've given you what I found along the way, you still got to do your own due diligence. You really got to research things on your own. You got to do that journaling. Again, I cannot stress that enough, so that you have your ammunition, that when you go to whatever practitioner you want to, you can let them know, look at this book and let's figure out what we're going to do, because I'm not feeling right. Something just ain't right. Let's figure it out. Right. And they'll do it. Because you've done what you got to do, and they'll be impressed. They'll probably be like, wow, yeah, because I'm feeling like this, and this journal should tell you that. So anyway, all right. So we're at time. I try to keep these about 30 minutes. So I think next week's going to be our final one about PeriWHATapause. Don't be sad. I'll probably do some follow-ups on it, to be honest. Check in with you guys to see how you're going with your journeys and stuff like that. And tell me how you're going. Who's in it? If anybody at the sound of my voice is in perimenopause and this has helped you, please let me know. I want to know you. I want to know what you're going through. I feel your pain. Let me tell you. Can I get an amen up in here? Because it's the truth. But I mean, let me know. I would love to know how this has helped you, how informative this has been for you. Pass it along. Share. Don't be hesitated. Share it with people, share it with women, share it with anybody who knows a woman who could be going through this, because they may need this. But again, it starts with me, but it really continues with you. It really does. It's got to start with me to give that seed of, oh, yeah, maybe that is what I'm going through. And, the things that I found along the way that helped me. But honestly, the rest has got to come from you. So I'm just helping you to empower yourselves to, again, listen to your bodies. Because if you don't listen, my motto always is, and I probably said this before, if you don't listen to your body talk to you, you will have no choice to listen to it scream at you later on. And you better hope it's not too late by the time it's screaming. Amen. So listen to your bodies. That's what you got to be. The older we get, it is so more important as ever to listen to our bodies. See, when we was in our teenage years, our 20s, we didn't care. Because we was like, I'm young. It is what it is. Well, now that we're older and we're getting to that stage of, midlife or over, guess what? It is important. It's more important than ever to consider our health and consider ourselves, right? It is, especially women, because we are, again, nurturers by nature, and we tend to put others before ourselves. But you know what? You're in your prime right now, baby. So put yourself first and think about yourself first, because if you can't do good for yourself, you're never going to be good for anybody else. You want me to say that again for the people in the back? If you're not going to take care of yourself first, you're never going to be able to take care of anybody else, because you're not going to be no good. So, all right, we're at time. I love you guys. And again, last week is going to be next week on PeriWHATapause. But again, I'll do some check-ins. I'll see how you guys are doing. Anything new that I find, I will come and bring it to you, because this is Curly Girl, Real Talk, where my motto is the hair is curly and the talk is real. And that's what I want you to get. The talk is absolutely real. All right. I love you guys. You literally are the best people. And we will see you back here next week for Curly Girl, the podcast, the one you need to listen to, especially if you're going through them changes, honey. Come on in. You welcome here. All right. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Peace.